Hey guys, uh, I wanted to just share with you today my story around my kidney and losing my kidney to a kidney tumor, and how this has actually been one of the best things that has ever happened to me, and it's been my journey. And so I with someone yesterday and they cried, and so it made me realize that I probably haven't been sharing it enough, and I probably haven't been grateful enough to that version of me who has fought the hard battles, or not taken the face value of the I was given at the time as enough. And so I wanted to zoom back and take you on this journey with me, because sometimes you assume that everyone knows your Story, and I've probably been assuming, but it is definitely one of the biggest things, biggest things that has happened to me in my life, and it was a catalyst for me for change. But it started back when I was 26, so 11 years ago, and I was all of a sudden diagnosed with a kidney tumor. I had pain I'd had been working out at the gym, and I had back pain, and I felt a pop. And I was then in agonizing pain, and I didn't do anything about it. I didn't go to the doctor or anything. I just pushed through. And at the time, I was in a job I hated. I was in a very dysfunctional, unhappy relationship. I just wasn't that happy. I had a lot of unresolved anger, but I thought I was okay. I thought I was healthy. I remember thinking, in my job, is this it? I've got to do this for the next 20-something, 30-something, 40-something years. And I wasn't very satisfied. And I also was in this relationship where I had a lot of anger coming up. And I remember not being right before this all happened. And there were lots of little whispers that happened to me, but I thought I was healthy, but really I drank a lot, didn't eat good food, did a lot of the normal things you do in your 20s, traveled, lived overseas. But on this particular day, I'd been doing sit-ups at the gym. I ignored the pain when I felt the pop, and then 2 weeks later I got the same pain. And within a couple of hours I was violently ill, and I ended up in Manly Hospital on the Northern Beaches in Sydney. And they said to me, you've got a tumour in your kidney, and it's pretty big. And so I got transferred to North Shore Hospital, and I remember I had this aha moment, or this, real come to Jesus moment, where I was down in the radiation department because I had to go and get an x-ray, and they wheeled me down there in a wheelchair because I couldn't walk. And I had a panic attack in this, because I was down there and it was right next to operating theatre, and there was people with tubes hanging out of them, and they were really not looking very well. And I just had this moment of going, holy fuck, I cannot stay in here, or I cannot end up back in here. And the first thing that happens when you get told you've got a tumour is you immediately think you're going to die. And that's where your mind goes, because that's the way that we've been conditioned. And that's also probably one of us as human beings, one of our greatest fears. So that's where I thought, and that's where I went. I didn't say it. I didn't say it out loud. It's probably where everyone else went too that was around me. But I had this thought of going, holy shit, I can't end up back in here. And I remember standing up at the x-ray and having the x-ray, and I had a full panic attack. And they had to take me out of there. Like, I got faint. I was like, couldn't breathe. And it was because I was looking at these people around me. I had just been looking at these people around me, and I went into full panic and felt really unwell. And they whipped me straight back up to my ward and came back and did it later. And so my kidney got removed. I sort of wasn't really, it was a bit of a shock. It was one of the most horrific things I've ever been through pain-wise. But I also didn't get any support. You know, I had the surgeon talking to me afterwards, and I asked what I could eat and drink, and he said just eat and drink as normal, and he knew nothing about me. He didn't ask anything about me. And so I then went on this quest. You know, I didn't get chemotherapy. It was sort of like, we'll check in on you every 6 months, come back. That was it. No, what are you eating? What's your lifestyle like? How are you sleeping? What's your nutrient status? None of that. And it just didn't sit right with me that I was just left to my own devices, and I was surrounded by all these ill people. So it had been a real kick in the teeth. And I just went, I can't end up back in here. And so I went on this journey where I then went, okay, I knew I had all this unresolved emotion in me, and it felt like when I had the tumor, I had all this anger that literally just exploded out of me. And there was a lot of, and I was trying to work it out, and I was like, and I hadn't even had thoughts, like almost like psychic thoughts of I was going to have a kidney tumor. And I got really into going, did I manifest that, and did I make that happen, or did I just know intuitively that that's what was going on in my body and I wasn't listening to it? And so I went down this path of being really interested in the mindset part of emotional part, and I went and studied life coaching and started to get to work on myself. And I went to this seminar and then got shown this, there was this segment on health, and it blew my mind. And I realized I had no idea. And so then I went down this path as well of health and nutrition. And it resulted in me going and studying nutritional medicine. So I learned all the things that I needed to learn from that point of view. I also had my own hormonal journey in that process. And I was in a relationship which was really unsupportive. And it was reflecting back on me, my own self-worth. And it took me a really long time to leave that relationship. And when I was going through my hormonal journey, I can even remember, you know, like him commenting on my skin, how bad my skin was, and really being unsupportive and making derogative comments about me. But it was just reflecting back at me how I felt about myself. And this is the hardest thing to comprehend when you're going through a really tough time, and particularly you've got someone around you that isn't supportive, to go, oh, when I first found that out, it's like it's a mirror back at me reflecting about me. I couldn't even get my head around it. And so I went through this relationship breakup of several years after I had my kidney out. And I then went deeper into the emotional. I was already doing nutrition. I was already learning that part, which is just like that was the foundation for me. But I knew there was more. And after I'd gone through this breakup, I was like, okay, I know there's stuff blocking me to get to where I want to go and create what I want to create. And why is everything feeling so hard? And I was still having at the time hormonal issues. I was still having a lot of skin issues. And it wasn't just about the nutritional aspect of all of that. There was this underlying emotional component to my kidney and to my skin and to my hormones. And I had really bad acne when I went off the pill, and it was horrendous. And I knew there was something in there that was creating it, that wasn't just about the food, or it wasn't just about the nutrients. There was an aspect of that, but I was like, why am I struggling with this so much? And so I went on my own journey and actually started to learn more about myself. And after I'd gone through this breakup, it was this period of really getting to work on my own journey. Several years down the track after that, there was a lot of healing that was provided with that. I then was in another relationship, and I was engaged. And in that relationship, I actually really abandoned myself in a lot of ways, and didn't realize at the time that I had done all this work but wasn't being consistent with it. and hadn't yet discovered really inner child work. And so 4 months before we were meant to get married, he called the wedding off, and it pretty much pulled the rug underneath my whole life. It turned my whole life upside down. I was working in his business, I was working for myself part-time, but I had nowhere to live, I had no job, all in the space of about a 5-minute conversation. I had a dog, and which is like my baby, and I had no home. And so I had to get back to work. And so when I went through that first breakup and through that period in my early 30s, I went and found a coach who supported me through that process, and we did some deep healing work around my relationship with my dad. My mum also at the same time got diagnosed with a brain tumour. But this relationship breakup was also a big part of my understanding my shadows and really starting to become more, go deeper into the dark parts of me that I had not resolved. And it wasn't until I went into that part of me that my skin and my hormones really started to balance. And so I had this moment yesterday where I had real appreciation for the 26-year-old version of me, that one with the kidney tumour, who just didn't take no for an answer or wasn't satisfied with the answer, and knew that there was more healing to be done, and knew I needed to go on a journey to find the healing. And in that process, I did a breath work. I started doing breath work and inner child work, and it has completely changed my life. It's now part of something that I love very dearly, and I've become a lot more conscious and aware of loving the shit out of those dark parts of me, and it is a work in progress, and being able to as a way to be able to regulate my nervous system and heal through my nervous system. And I now, I'm very passionate about the food part, but I'm also very passionate about the healing, the deep, those deep traumas and those dark shadow parts of us. Because if we don't do that, you can green smoothie all you want and eat all the most amazing organic produce, but it's not going to fully get you to where you want to go, because there's always this emotional component with our healing. And I know that from first-hand fact, because I had all this anger inside of me that I hadn't resolved. And so when I was doing this work, I did this breath workshop, and I remember having this amazing aha moment after it finished, not during. Breathwork, by the way, is an amazing way to clear and heal trauma from the body. And after it was actually from my ex, and I got this text message, and I had never, after I'd fully gone through the breath workshop, I felt like I didn't feel like I had this amazing experience during the breath work. But I started to, by that stage, fully start to again see myself and allow myself to be seen and heard. And once I went through the breath workshop and experienced that, and then I got this text message from him, and I'd never felt so fully seen and heard in all my life from this text message, and I just burst into tears. And so I can't express the gratitude I have for these parts of me now that I have come to a lot more connected with in myself. And rather than trying to constantly push them away, which is what I did for pretty much my whole life, I've learnt to actually go, and I'm learning, and it's still a process, and I'm now, teaching other people to do the same, is to go, if we want real healing, if you want real connection to yourself, if you want real balanced hormones, we've got to go and learn to love those parts of us that we actually really don't love. And that is real self-love. And the journey for me has actually been a journey to really actually start to learn to heal the relationship with myself more than anyone else. And to heal my health, I had to heal my relationship with myself. And so I had this moment yesterday where I was on a call and I was sharing my story, and I had my coach Nima, who is now a dear friend of mine, in tears because I was sharing my story. And so I just wanted to come on here and share that, because if I had not have gone through that process, there would be people in my life that I would not be able to make impact on, and I would not be living this life that I'm living now where I can actually make an impact. And so I just had this moment yesterday where I was so insanely grateful for the part of me that had the kidney tumor, that part of me that was so angry and didn't know what to do, the part of me that had gone through all the horrible cystic acne and hormonal imbalances and gone off the pill because she knew it wasn't right. Because if I didn't go through that pain and I hadn't gone through that journey, I wouldn't be sitting here today being able to make an impact with other people in their lives. And so I want to share this with you, because I'm like, if you're watching this and this resonates and you know there's something deep inside of you that needs to be opened to really fully heal, or you know something's not right, or and if you're going to have the honest conversation with yourself, and it takes bravery to step up and actually go, yeah, I need to do something about this, and I know it's more than just what I'm eating or drinking green smoothies or eating kale salads, then I really encourage you. There's a breath workshop on this Saturday, it's this Sunday actually in Australia, this Saturday in the States, to go along. I'll put the link in the comments, because I can't express how much this work has changed my life, and I can now make an impact with other people. And I now know, every time I see people that tell me they have hormonal imbalances, or they've had some sort of hormonal issue, or they've got autoimmune, or they've got gut issues, there's always this part of us that is deeper. It's deeper than, it's more than skin deep. It's deeper than the surface level, looking at things, how things are working, looking at symptoms and taking a supplement, which is great. I love that. But it's more than that. And we've got to be able to have the courage and the bravery to dive deeper and learn to love the shit out of our parts of us that really we're often, more than not, running away from. And if you can have the bravery to go, yeah, you know what, I want more than this, than where I'm at. I want more healing. I want more. I know there's more for me. Then take some bravery and take some brave action and show up. And if this story resonated with you in any shape or form, reach out to me, because I want to work. You know, I now work with people on this level. I do the nutrition and the biochemistry, but I also do this work with people going, okay, how do we learn to integrate these parts of us that we don't like and love the shit out of them, because they all serve the purpose, because we've got to have a nervous system that's a healthy functioning nervous system, because if we don't have a healthy functioning nervous system, everything is thrown out. Our hormones are thrown out. We can't sleep properly. We can't digest our food properly. We're not connected to ourselves. We can't have a genuine conversation. Our relationships are affected. And so if that resonates, I really encourage you. It's not even an expensive class. I just wanted to share it with you because it had the conversation yesterday had such an impact on me that I was like, I need to start sharing the process and the journey that I've been on more, and how this mess of having a kidney tumor and having all these health issues and going through relationship breakdowns has really, those parts of me I'm learning to appreciate and am appreciating for all the goodness that they've brought into my life. And so there's a whole nother level of freedom on the other side of doing this type of work, if you have the courage and if you have the bravery to step into the unknown and to actually go, I want to get to the real root cause of the problem, which is, we've got to look at it from both angles when I'm working with people. I'm going, well, what's the biochemistry doing, and what's the physical doing, and what's the emotional and the mindset doing, and how are they integrated together? That is all. I hope you, if it resonated, please comment below, please like it, please share it with anyone that you think might need the info. I'll pop the link below in the comments, and I'll see you all soon. Have a beautiful day. Bye.